Welcome back, know it alls, and thanks for listening to the show. Your support is awesome. Please continue to follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Remember to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss an episode when it gets released. You can find us on all social media platforms under the name Answers for Everything Podcast. We should be there. If we are not, let us know and we'll make it right.
That sounds good.
Once again, we're back to a bonus episode that doesn't fit anywhere. I know Charlie Ray is probably new to this, but Josh and I have been recording a couple 15-minute things. Well, not recording it, but like it sort of just doesn't fall into the flow of the episode, and we just like throw it into its own little bonus thing, releasing them every week or two in between regular episodes.
Okay.
And I think this arcade thing probably fit perfect into it. I mean, when's the last time you guys actually went to an arcade?
It's been a
For
long
me, it's
time.
been about probably almost 30 years.
So I went to one a couple years ago in Calgary, and it was a dance club. So it was like a dance club slash arcade. So there's like drinks and dancing, and then one of the floors had arcade games. And you don't put in money anymore. You have to buy like a card, and you swipe the card in the machine until your credits are done. And I'm pretty sure I
Oh,
still have a card full of credits because I really wasn't there to play Donkey Kong. I was there to drink and dance. But yeah, so that's the last time I went to an arcade, and it was vastly different than like it was when I was a kid. Like the excitement, man. Like when you had like a roll full of quarters and you're going to the arcade, holy fuck.
Oh yeah.
well, now you know that you mentioned it, I actually have been to an arcade earlier than 30 years ago. Now, 30 years ago, I had an awesome last experience for many, many years because it wasn't until probably like, I don't know, in the last 8 years that I've been to an arcade again. But 30 years ago, my last arcade experience is I had a friend of mine, and I've mentioned him before, my friend that lives in Mexico now, you
Yep.
know? Yeah. So he was working part-time at a place called, funny enough, Good Time Charlie's
Oh,
was the name of the arcade. So it was an arcade and a pool hall that eventually basically got run out of town. It got shut down by the city because, nuisance and kids and all that stuff. And
oh yeah.
there ended up what toward the end of it, what culminated in it, there ended up being a shooting, like a drive-by shooting there that ended it. But before all that happened, it was great because he was working there every Friday and Saturday night because he was going to school down in like about, I don't know, an hour away from here, and he'd come up here and work. I don't know, long story. But anyway, he was working there on the weekends. And so I'd go up there and he'd just give me like a whole handful of just coins, whatever coins I wanted. So when the place was open, I was playing games on the coins. He'd just give me coins. Like, here you go. Here's 50 tokens, right? And I go
Nice.
play games. So that was awesome. But then it was even more awesome is that after the place closed at midnight and we ran everybody out of there, we locked the door. He locked the door. We got all that stuff up, and then me and him would basically just open the machines up, and
Yeah.
he just put unlimited tokens on them, and we'd sit there. We'd play Mortal Kombat until like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, just over and over and over
Fuck
again.
yeah.
And then he'd load up the jukebox with credits, and we just put music in. We were just in there, totally empty pool hall, arcade place, just me and him playing games. I tell you what, those were some of the
Paradise.
best. Yeah, those were some of the best days, man. I mean, I was having a great time just hanging out with my friend and just playing video games for free. It was awesome. So that wasn't my last experience. That was my last experience for a long time. And then the concept of adult arcades came around. And I don't mean the kind of adult where you go put a couple of quarters in there and all of a sudden you're seeing,
Yeah, yeah.
going on. That was the kind of adult arcades when I was a kid. But now we had a place that was called Up Down, like the video game controls,
Yep.
and then a place called Tapcade. And anyway, they're basically full of old video games, and you could get like pizza and beer and adult beverages and everything. And there would be some younger people in there too, but a lot of the people that were in there were probably more Gen X and millennials who had actually experienced playing more of the arcade video games. Probably most of the younger kids were probably like, I don't want to play that crap. I'm playing Call of Duty online or whatever. But I had a great time. I can't say that it's something that appeals to me all that much anymore.
Yeah.
I went on a couple of dates with a couple of times with some girls and went there and played games for a while. But I didn't have a boy, one of my boys with me to just sit there and play video games against each other or do anything. So, yeah, it was okay. It's like trying to retap the days of yesteryear, when I was there, and it's just hard to recapture that time in your life when that was really cool for me and it was really something I enjoyed. And I don't know, I need to find some of that youthful experience and bring it back into my life. So I had a good time. I know I could go to an arcade right now if I wanted to. Well, not right this second, but I mean, I could go to one and I could play, but it doesn't really have much of an appeal to me anymore. So yeah, that's about that. So the last one I've been to is probably I don't know, probably before COVID, so like 2019, 20,
But it wasn't
2019.
the same. Like the being a kid and going to the arcade, or being in your 20s and going to the arcade was vastly different than it is, like you said, during
No.
COVID times or now. Like it's not the same at all.
Well, yeah, it was a blast, especially when I was doing the thing, hanging out with my friend, where you felt like you're, beating the system. You could be a kid in a candy store for free, that you couldn't do in an arcade with it, unless you knew somebody like that. And
Yeah.
it was a great time. It was a good time. It was sad that arcade had been there in that location. It was owned by somebody else at one time, but it'd been in that location for, since the 70s. My cousin was going there when he got to be a teenager before I was a teenager, and I didn't know about this then or until years later. That's where he was scoring his pot from. And I'm like, I didn't even know he did pot until I was like in my like 30s, you know.
How dare
And
those city council people want to shut those places down? And you're saying nothing's wrong, but that's where they're buying their pod, and then there's a buy. So it makes
yeah, I
sense.
mean, when I first started going to that arcade, people could still smoke and stuff. I mean, it was just hazy with smoke. You couldn't even see the back of the arcade where all the pool tables were because everybody was smoking.
It just sounds like you
Yeah.
missed an opportunity. You had a friend who you did a lot of cool shit with, who you fucking loved, and now he lives in Mexico. Do you ever regret not putting a ring on it and just like calling him for your own?
Well, I don't like men, so you
Well,
know.
you can get him to dress up. I mean,
Well, there's also the other factors I've told you about. So, I I can't I can't have that many conversations. It's just too much for me. So, anyway, it was good times. But he was pretty stressed out too at that time, and it wasn't too many years later that me and him had a falling out that lasted almost 10 years.
shitty.
So, yeah.
Did were there any
That's the way of life.
Were there any markings on the quarters? Because back in my hometown, whenever the people that own the arcade had to come test something to see why we lost our quarters or why it wasn't working, they had their quarters painted red. So they're
They weren't
practically
quarters.
they were
There was
tokens.
a machine. People put money in a machine and it gave you tokens. And
Okay.
then you would just go around and clear all the tokens out of the machines, put them back in the token machine. So it didn't matter.
Okay. So yeah,
And
that's
and and then when we were after hours, we didn't even put tokens in there. He just took the key and opened the front
yeah, yeah,
panel at the bottom and just kept going like this on the thing and it just kept giving it
yeah.
credits. So he'd load it up with like 100 credits at a time and we'd just play until we were done. And
If I owned an arcade, I would probably do that every couple of days. I'd find one game and I'd just throw on like 30 free games, right? Just for
Yeah.
the happy little surprise for a kid to find. It's like, holy fucking shit. Are you kidding me?
This one's
yeah,
free.
Street Fighter 3 is free for the next 20 minutes. This is awesome.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, when I first started playing video games in the arcades when I was like 13 and I found one, God, a quarter was a lot of money in
Yeah.
1983. And, I didn't get to play very often because I was not loaded with quarters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So fun times, good times. I mean, there was that whole, you know, it was like a social place, and saw other kids there and stuff. And, nowadays nobody meets anywhere. I mean, if they
No,
meet at
no.
all, they're meeting, well, let's go hang out
They're
in the basement,
online. That's the way it is.
Yeah, online.
I mean, I would much rather play video games in my basement than an arcade. Like the comfort level of my couch and the controllers are way better than standing at a stand-up machine and using those laggy fucking big ball, huge button. It's not as comfortable. Like I would much rather play a video game from the comfort of my own house.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I get it. I mean, if we had had that option when we were kids, I mean, I'm glad that I grew up when I did. And I had the experiences that I
Yeah.
did, because I don't know what I'd be like if I had the experiences of the kids today. I guess I'd be just as, you know,
Well, you wouldn't know your gender and you'd need a safe space
yeah, yeah. I'd have to dye my head green because I don't have any hair, so
and you'd be
that'd be
offended by
weird.
everything. But you also wouldn't want a job because you don't want to do anything but sit on your phone and be on TikTok.
Oh, and let's not forget, I don't want to get a driver's license. I want you, just my mom, to my dad to drive me everywhere, or get an Uber
Perfect.
because that's cheaper. I mean, probably is because they don't really go anywhere half the time anyway.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just can't. Yeah, just a different time, right?
Oh, it's hilarious. I have a guy I work with. He's got three kids. He's got one that just turned 20, one who's almost 18 and is graduating this next week from high school, and one that's like 14 or 15, his youngest, his daughter. And he tells me stories about what it's like trying to parent them, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, what the hell? I have I don't I mean I can't say anything about children really because I don't have any children. I don't raise children. I didn't have a brother or sister. I don't have nephews or nieces. I haven't changed a diaper in my entire life, and you know what? I'm probably going to go through life never experiencing that, and I'm okay with that.
Like you're not missing out, man. Like you are not missing
Yeah,
out.
I don't need nuclear waste in a diaper.
No.
Um and he tells me stories about what it's like, is like he'll tell me stories about like what his kids have done. I mean, like I'll be around his son, and it's like you might as well be around a statue because this is the kid the whole time you're around him.
Yeah.
And he'll have headphones in with a hoodie over his head,
Yeah.
and you'll try to say something to him, and he's not listening. He's totally in his own world. He don't give two shits about anything. I don't know. You know what? I guess it's not going to be my worry here in about 20 or 30 years anymore anyway. So, who cares? Uh,
You're just
I,
you're thinking about your
Just
mortality
giving
right
up.
now. We're,
you
we're
know,
done.
I don't worry about it. I mean, I mean, I can't change it. I mean, I might be able to prolong it.
Actually, nothing matters.
Hey, you know what? But maybe I'll try to choose my end days as going out in a pile of cocaine and hookers surrounded by arcade games. Maybe I'll
Done.
switch it up a little bit,
Yeah, dude. Yeah, man. If you're gonna end it, at
What
least end
happened?
it on the
He
good
had a
note.
cocaine-fueled Mortal Kombat all-night bender.
He cracked
I
open
don't
the
know.
front of the machine. He was hitting like the free play thing. He was there for an hour and a half, just snorting lines off the top of the game. Yeah,
Oh,
Charlie
yeah,
Ray
that's
died like he
hilarious.
lived.
Yeah.
Man,
No, I mean, it doesn't depress me. I mean, it is what it is, but it's just funny to hear stories about kids today. They're not going to have, let's say, an example, they're not going to have arcade experience stories to tell on a podcast when they're 30 years later.
Oh, they won't have any experience to tell.
No.
That's the sad thing.
arcades
Yeah.
were huge for me. Huge. I lived right beside one. It was called the TJ Family Fun Center here in Mission, downtown Mission. I lived above the bakery, and beside the bakery was TJ's Family Fun Center. It was ran by a Korean man and his son. The Korean guy was named Tan, and he was probably in his 70s. And the son was probably in his 20s. And man, they would give us free plays all the time. You would just walk up and slap some quarters down beside you wherever you were playing. And it was just like this big rectangle with games all against the wall, so in a giant horseshoe shape.
Yeah,
And down the middle was like an air hockey and a couple pool tables.
yeah.
But then on the other
horrible.
side of town, or of downtown, they had Brothers Pool Hall, and it was amazing. I was a member there. I had my own locker where I kept my pool cue that would screw together. And there was this dwarf there, this little guy named Cameron, and he taught me everything he knew about playing 9-ball. And I used to play in all the tournaments.
Yeah.
And I used to do pretty well for myself, thanks to that dwarf.
I was gonna say, man, that's like living the dream, man. You had a pastry shop that
Yeah.
you said you were living above a pastry shop and you were next to an arcade.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, it was
amazing.
amazing.
I mean, an adult version of that would be living above a bar or a liquor store next to an arcade. Well, to a strip club. That would be an adult version. But
You're gonna need more than quarters for that strip club.
yeah, there you go. As a kid, I'd take pastries in an arcade. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It was a great thing to go grab if you were hungry in between a hard gaming session.
Just carb up, baby.
What was the
Yeah,
what do you
exactly.
what did you guys think when you were playing were like the biggest fucking games you'd ever seen? Like the game that fucking changed every kid lined up for it. You had to like put your quarter on the above the controller and be like, I get next game. Like that kind of thing, but there would be like 20 quarters stacked there.
Crazy Taxi was pretty popular back in the day.
I have never even heard of that.
I've never even heard of that either.
Oh, it's so fun.
Was that a Canadian thing?
You pick up fares and then you make it to their drop off. And if you get them there quick enough, you get even more cash. And then you have to make it to the next customer and you get another fare. And it goes on and on. And meanwhile, you're racing through these awesome courses.
Oh,
It's a
That's
great
not a
game.
game. That's a vocational training program. Are you sure you were in the right building?
And the whole soundtrack was The Offspring.
oh, that's fucking awesome.
It was fucking
Never
awesome
heard of it.
game. So
I
good.
want to find this game. I got to find some examples. Hold on, Jamie. Let's see if Jamie can find this on
Jamie,
YouTube.
pull
It's called
something up.
what? It's called
Crazy
Crazy
Taxi.
Taxi.
Let's make
my
some
God.
crazy money. And the Wolfman was the one who did the voice for it.
What the fuck
Oh
is
my God.
what kind of alternate reality do you live? I was out like lining up for Street Fighter, lining up for Tekken.
Yeah.
We played that too.
And you're driving a cab and picking
This
up.
guy got a low. This guy's got a
fares?
low rider, like convertible taxi. What the hell is this?
It's Uber before it was
Yeah,
Uber,
man.
bro.
This is hilarious.
You get to pick between 4 characters.
Because yeah, I remember the Simpsons game was huge.
Oh, this is awesome. This is hilarious. Crazy Taxi. You're gonna have to watch this later, but I've never heard of this game ever before. Here's a 33-minute gameplay video of it.
I might watch like a
Oh my
minute.
God.
I can't spend 33 minutes watching it, but
I know, just watch clips of it, but I'm like, okay, I don't know. Down here, we weren't getting vocational training disguised as a video game. I mean, is this like? I mean, the only thing that's missing from that is you need like the Grand Theft Auto where you can like run over a pimp or a hooker and you start slapping people on the street. You know, maybe that's where Grand Theft Auto got their idea, man.
they're like, we can
Maybe.
adapt this to something much better.
Yeah,
They kept the low rider.
crazy,
They kept the
crazy
concept.
taxi. Oh, that is just awesome. So
Yeah, it was a big part of my life, man.
yeah,
Playing video
yeah.
games at the arcade.
I'll have to watch that later. Ooh,
And I
They
want to
got-
add,
Yeah.
it was definitely where I was scoring all the weed back then was the arcade and the pool hall. And that's
And-
what I loved about those.
yes, the arcade was definitely the place where you scored. That's where you met your dealers. Before you didn't need to call them on a phone. You just knew on certain nights of the week they'd be at the pool hall and you could just go over there and score. You know.
Yeah, man. And I'd
Yeah.
always be looking for the best guy. I'm like, oh yeah,
I
Lawrence
wonder-
always has the best doobies.
I wonder how many of those people I saw and was oblivious to the fact that they were there selling drugs. Because
Oh,
I never did that stuff at all. And I
Neither
never
did I.
looked for it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't a thing I was interested in. So I was going there to play video games, but I wonder how many people I crossed paths with who were there not to play video games or pool, but to just trade money for drugs.
Lots.
wow, they've got Crazy Taxi for Xbox and PS2 and all kinds of stuff. There's actual
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And Sega Dreamcast, that's what I had it for.
Okay. That is hilarious. All I can think of is like DC Cab with Mr. T in it.
It's
you-
so
do you ever
good with
see
that
that?
soundtrack though.
Yeah.
All Offspring. It's like, yeah, 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 yeah. That's what I remember from it.
Man, it's weird that I've never even thought about that. Like that game never crossed my path.
But it's better in the
never heard
arcade
of it.
because you're like inside like a enclosed.
Oh man.
Oh, it's one of the
it's
bigger
like
games.
one of the big games. Yeah.
That
like
is cool.
Transformers or like
It was a loony game. You
Terminator.
had to throw a loony in that bad cat.
oh yeah, when things went from 1 quarter to 2 quarters and then like a loony, you're like, what the fuck is happening here?
Loonies,
Oh.
Toonies? What?
Yeah.
Man, when games started being like 50 cents and they got even higher, I was like, well, I'm out. I mean, that's my thing is I quit playing video games completely because I'm like, I'm out. This stuff's too expensive. I don't have time. You know.
I like video games still.
Oh, I like them. I suppose if I wasn't working like a dog and I had enough free time where I was like, oh, I've accomplished a lot of stuff. I could play a video game. I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, for me, my free time. I mean, everybody chooses their own thing, right? Me and Clay have talked about this. For me, my free time, I go to concerts a lot. So
Yeah.
I am glad that I'm getting a break from that. But yeah, I don't have any. The last video game system that I actually bought and played for a little while was Nintendo Wii, and that's like 12 years ago.
Yeah.
That's a fun one.
So yeah, yeah. I mean, I bought that system when I was with my second ex-wife, and she ended up taking it with her when she left. I'm like, why? You're never gonna play it, but whatever makes you happy.
I was just gonna say, and I suspect Charlie Ray still has his Wii somewhere in a box, but you already stated prior to my statement as to why you don't have that.
That's right. And I didn't buy another one, and I didn't care. I'm like, I didn't have time. I got other stuff to do.
You're swimming and stuff to do.
I tell you, well, yeah, I'm swimming in chores. I mean, but that's not going to be a part of this conversation. But chores are not fun, but they have to be
No.
done because I got nobody else to do them.
True.
So
You need to move
responsibilities of being a man.
you need to move into Josh's town and get yourself some of them wifey thingies to come clean your house after they bang Josh.
Now there we go.
Yeah.
That's part of the thing.
I-
Josh is like, yeah, you have sex with me, but you go clean Charlie Ray's house before you go back to your husband. They're like, oh, yes, Master
I'm
Josh.
sure I can convince him to help you out in that department. Just don't be
Yeah,
looking at him funny.
I figure I'm just going to sell everything and sell a house and everything and just move to a tropical island somewhere where everything's like dollar or whatever the heck and just buy a
Oh,
nice house and everything's paid off and just hire a maid and cook and rub a tug and whatever, I'll be all good.
Well, there you have it, Odalls. Charlie Ray's
That's
master
right.
plan.
That's right. With an arcade.
All I
No,
took from that was get a rub and tug on a tropical island, and I think that's a good place to focus.
A
Yeah.
tropical island lady boy at your disposal.
No,
Okay.
no. I don't need to be doing the rub and tug. They need
you're
to be doing the rub and
Oh,
tug.
you're getting the rub. Okay, yeah.
No, you
now-
do it
Yes.
simultaneously.
Yeah,
Well, that's called a Dutch rudder, and
yeah.
I've
Well, I
already
mean,
got my partner for that.
If you do the Dutch rudder,
Okay.
you're not touching their wang, right?
Yeah,
You're only touching your own wang.
right.
So
Exactly.
that makes it okay.
I like my women wangless.
Oh, well, you're definitely not living in 2024, my friend.
Obviously, I'm old school. I'm old school. I like my women
To be women?
women to be women. Yeah,
How dare you?
whatever that is, because I'm not a biologist. I
Wow,
can't define
wow,
one.
Charlie. Wow.
Blasphemy.
I know I'm being controversial here. That
We just
I
we
will
just
go
lost
out,
all three of our listeners, dude.
probably
Oh,
all the ones
damn
in
it.
Washington.
But I got a new mic.
Okay.
But shout out to the state of Washington, and if you're enjoying our episodes, we really appreciate you downloading and listening to the musings of-
127.
I'll be there very
Wow.
soon. I spend lots of time in Washington.
Well,
That's awesome.
Yeah, just
Drop
walk
us a
around.
line. Drop us a line and tell us what you think of our episodes. If you're one of these great Washington listeners,
Unless you're just
So-
one person listening to
Yeah.
127. Because still, hey, wow, look at you go.
well, hey, shout out to our buddy who's a truck driver. We appreciate
Still
you
love
too,
it.
man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, no dolls.
So
We hope you enjoyed
Yes.
the bonus episode and keep listening.
that's right. Have a good night.
Peace.
Peace.
I don't have them, and I don't think I'm gonna have them. So I don't get to
Too late.
experience that. Yeah. Well, it's not too late. I mean, hopefully my swimmers are still, at least doing a jerk leg fucking dog paddle or something. I don't know at this point. They're probably like,
you don't want to need kids. That's
no.
just spend
Well,
your money on yourself.
That's a young person game for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although 40 is the new 20 and 60 is the new 40 and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, but like right now, if I had a kid right now, they'd be graduating from high school when I'm 71 years old. Okay. That sounds retarded right there.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Want to
Yeah.
play catch, Dad? Not really, no. I
Fuck
don't.
no.
Hey, you want to play a game today, kids? It's called Push Daddy in the Wheelchair because his fat ass didn't fucking lose the weight and he needs to get around these boxes. So,
The hoarding boxes.
they'll be gone. They'll be gone long before that age.
Before
I
the
swear to
70?
God.
Before your kids are in high school?
I'm hoping they're gonna be gone before I'm 60. I got 7 years of hard selling. I could
No.
probably get rid of most of
No,
my
you
stuff.
got a really shitty mindset there. It's like when you plan for something years from now, you never get around to doing it. You
I
just
got
gotta
planned for tomorrow.
not even tomorrow. Like you get off the
Just do it.
podcast and you grab
Before
two
the end of
boxes.
the year, it's done.
Yeah,
Hey, I sold another DTC his tank this week, so
excellent.
I've sold almost I think 12 or 13 of them now.
And you had
So
what, 50 of them?
47.
Jesus.
So I'm averaging one to two a month. I mean, depending on the month. So I got this one guy that keeps sending me email going, I'll offer you 50. I'm like, I'm selling every month at 85, dude. I'm not really starving to sell that
Well,
extra for 50.
What you can say is like, oh, sure, I've got 30 left. You can have them for 50 a piece, but you got to buy them all.
There you go.
And then they're
That's
all
fair.
gone. And you've made all your money back easily on it already. Like already you've made your money back on them. Have you not? The rest
Yeah.
are all because you paid what, $10?
Some I paid full price for, which is like 20, and then some I paid only like $5 a piece for because they were clearance.
Yeah. So I would bet you've already made your money back.
Probably, yeah.
So the rest is just gravy. So if somebody's offering you 50 for 30 of them, done. You know, it's like hand jobs. Like how much do you guys charge when you give hand jobs?
Hand jobs are terrible.
$1 million.
Wow. How many? You probably don't give very many then, do you?
No, I don't. I haven't given any.
Oh, yeah. I charge $3 and I'm always busy.
P. Diddy, if you're looking for a high quality hand job, it's not here, but I'll still give you one.
I'm the Walmart of hand jobs. Low priced and I move. Just so many of them.
You're like the greeter at Walmart. Free hand job with every hi. Hi, welcome to Walmart. Hand job. Hi, welcome to Walmart. It's like,
That
why
is-
does this Walmart get so much business? Well, we have Clay as our greeter.
That is my dream job. I'm not even
That's
gonna lie
right.
to you.
Mr. Clay, the hand job
No,
specialist.
no, not the hand job, the Walmart greeter.
Oh, yeah.
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 I can't wait to do that for once I sell my business and do that for like 3 or 4 months. Just for no
Just to cap
responsibility.
off a successful career.
Well, it's just that I don't want any responsibility. I'm so
Think
tired
about
of
how
being
many-
in charge of everything all the time.
I hear
Think
ya.
about how many girls he's going to have coming through the door that he can potentially mac on. I mean, he might get fired from his job, but
I don't know. I do a lot of shopping at Walmart and I don't see those girls when I'm shopping. I don't know when I'm going to
Oh,
see them at
okay.
the front door.
Mr. Clay, you're overly enthusiastic when greeting the women here at the Walmart.